Hi everyone, welcome to the Empower Sounds podcast. My name is Mahika, and this podcast is all about sharing the inspiring stories of women from all walks of life, delving into the mindset behind their successes and their journeys. Today we're joined by Alla and Anna, founders of Two Chicks and the Future Female Entrepreneurship Network. In today's conversation, we're going to dive into all things business, being a woman in business, creating your networks, helping other women, scaling a business, and so much more. I hope you enjoy and stay tuned.
Well, Anna and Alla, welcome to the Empower Sounds podcast. Thank you for making time to speak with me. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us about your products? Can you tell us the story behind the inception of Two Chicks and what inspired you to start this business?
I'm Anna, co-founder of Two Chicks, and I had the idea for Two Chicks after having spent some time in the US back in, God, a long time ago, I think 2006. Everyone was buying egg whites. They were available in the supermarkets. I was having them myself, got back here, saw a gap in the market, was a journalist, so nothing related to food. Just wanted to buy them myself, looked up egg separating plants, found there were 5 in the UK, visited one, and decided I wanted to pursue the idea. Alla and I were really good friends, and I was speaking with her one day, and she said that she has the economics degree, I have an English degree, so it was a very good kind of pairing for the business. And she said, "Oh, I'm not using my economics degree as much as I'd like." And I said, "Well, I have this idea. Would you like to do it with me?" And she also recognized the gap in the market and said, "Yeah." So the next day we got together, kind of decided to go for it, and bought the FT business plan writing book and went from there.
That's awesome. Thank you. What about yourself, Alla? Introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Okay. Hello, my name is Alla. I am the co-founder of Two Chicks. So yes, as Anna mentioned, we've been working together. It was actually 2005 that we started working together, and we registered the company in 2005. I thought her idea of selling egg white in cartons was brilliant. I'd heard of it, but obviously we didn't have it in the UK. So that was that. So when it came to writing the business plan, Anna did the writing. I did all the financial modeling, having studied economics at university. And yeah, we went from there.
Amazing. Well, before I move on to questions related to your product and the industry and your business journey, it's been a long time since 2005. You have managed to sustain a really strong partnership throughout the years. Do you have any advice for our listeners on how to collaborate effectively and how to sustain strong partnerships?
I think it's definitely good to have complementary skills, because everything I love to do, Alla hated, and vice versa. So I think that definitely helps. And it's like any relationship, you'll have your ups and downs, but then you kind of manage to. It's much better to have a business partner than to not. Like, if I'm having a bad day, then Alla's having a good day, and she can pick me up, and vice versa. So it definitely helps, each other to stay positive.
Amazing. Okay, so now let's move on to talking about Two Chicks and your product. You briefly explained the idea. Your products were the first liquid egg white to retail in the UK. How did you identify the market opportunity? Because you said that you saw a gap in the market. What made you believe in the potential of this niche in the UK?
I think it was just I'd been using it myself and just genuinely really wanted it. And then because I really wanted it, I never thought I wanted to start a business. And it was just that the idea came to me. It was that way around. And then I started looking it up, and I saw lots of people were saying the market leader out there was called Egg Beaters. And lots of people were saying, why can't you get Egg Beaters in the UK? And then also it seemed kind of on trend because lots of magazine articles were including it in diet plans, and celebrities were talking about having egg whites for breakfast. And I just thought how silly that you can't buy it in the supermarkets here, but yet there's lots of brands in the US.
Mm-hmm. That's super interesting. Did you face difficulty getting it into the market and transferring it from America? Were you met with resistance from buyers, from other competitors, from customers? What was the journey like?
Well, we obviously had to build a whole new market. There was no egg white category in the UK, so it was very challenging. It was an educational process on every level, right down from the supermarket buyers of, building a case study saying, here's here's how it is in the US. These are the selling points. You know, they literally didn't know about egg white and why it was kind of beneficial. And then it was educating the consumer. So we had to go look to lots of food shows. We leafleted outside supermarkets. It was a really long process. And, you know, now we have hundreds of Tesco, but at the beginning we'd get given, say, 30, and we'd drive around the stores, leaflet outside. People wouldn't know what egg white was. Whereas now most people have kind of heard of the product or know someone that uses it, but it took a long time to build that up.
That's incredible that you managed to not only be like the new innovator in the market, but also grow it substantially to this huge thing. Scaling a business can be a complex process. What were some of the key milestones or turning points that help you grow Two Chicks egg white products?
I mean, I think I could answer this one. I mean, we had kind of challenges every step of the way. So our first challenge was finding investment, finding a manufacturer. Then it was getting the retail listings. And, you know, every time we overcame one hurdle, or, you know, we got the investment, you know, we got into the retailers. There was always the next challenge, the next step, but it's just part of the process. And you have to go through all of these steps to get to, where you want to be.
That's super insightful. So you mentioned just now the struggles of getting an investor. And in a previous interview, you discussed the importance of finding the right investor when growing a business. How did you navigate that process? And why did you decide to be funded by a family friend in the end rather than a bank or another institution?
Well, you know, friends and family is kind of sort of the easiest access to capital. We couldn't get funding from a bank or from a, you know, big institution. We were, you know, in their eyes, two young women with an idea, with no experience in food or in business. And we just didn't have the credibility in order to be able to secure any funding. And we were very lucky to, you know, to have a friend help us out. And also now, well, we can come on to this later, but now that we've been doing FFE, you know, we've learned that women only get 2% of the venture funding that's available. The rest goes to men. And we really were part of that statistic. We've really found it difficult to secure any other form of funding.
That's so interesting. And I think it's a perfect time to move swiftly onto the Future Female Entrepreneurship Program, which you launched in spring 2022, if I'm correct, to inspire the next generation of female entrepreneurs and help ensure that UK businesses are created and led by women as well. What steps did you take to establish this network?
Well, we actually started in spring, not in spring, was it in September 2020? We set up the Two Chicks Empowerment Fund, and we started working with a couple of schools because we wanted to give back because I mean, I'd gone to a couple of schools. I'd gone to my old school to talk. I'd gone to a local primary school and had a really good reception and even feedback from parents saying that the kids were inspired to hear me share my story. So we developed that and we started working with schools, and we were doing various initiatives helping, you know, raise kind of aspirations, improve mental health. We also did a few initiatives on improving mental health, raising aspirations. And having done that for a couple of years, we decided to kind of drill down and focus on entrepreneurism because that's really where our skill set is. So in spring 22, we launched our first initiative, which was the in-person mentoring. So we got incredible women from our network, you know, founders. We asked them to join if they would like, you know, if they wouldn't mind helping us to mentor these young aspiring entrepreneurs. We went to universities, mostly in and around London, and invited the girls to fill out a form, you know, if they wanted to be matched with a mentor, and we took it from there.
That's so amazing. And I think your work with the mentorship team has been amazing. I firsthand benefited from it. So thank you so much. How did you recruit the mentors for your program and find people willing to give up their time? Also, why do you believe that mentors are important? And can you please tell our audience about mentors that have helped you with your endeavors?
When we launched the business, there was one mentor we had that was really helpful to us. It was someone who he had his own business that was a food broker. So he would kind of basically get products listed. And I remember he's in the supermarkets, and I remember him sending me a contract, and there's no way we could afford it. And then he just said, look, Anna, you can do it yourself. So as we were saying earlier, we kind of divided our roles. You know, Alla was doing the kind of financial stuff and I was doing the sales stuff. So that was very important in terms of, so he guided us with getting the listing. So he said, for example, launch your product in Selfridges. You know, they'll want to do an exclusivity. He said, then log your sales, go to the Waitrose buyer. He said, you know, they'll ask you to be exclusive for 3 months, give them 6 weeks. He was really, really helpful in doing that. And I think Alla as well, he helped you, didn't he, with margins for the forecast we looked at for the kind of financial model, because we had no idea, for example, how many units of egg white would sell per store per week. So that was, you know, really helpful. I think he gave us benchmarks, didn't he, for this type of thing. So definitely that was probably he was our main and maybe only mentor, really. I think there weren't really such schemes in place, or, you know, we just kind of didn't really think about it. We asked around, but yeah, I would say it was just basically him. I can't actually think of anyone else until later down the line that kind of advised us.
Yeah, no, I agree. And obviously now we're doing this Future Female Entrepreneur where we're matching girls with female mentors, but of course men can be mentors, and you know, women are very underrepresented in business. So I think if you can find a female mentor, yeah, there aren't many around. There are probably more men around. But no, he was brilliant. And yeah, and then as for finding the mentors for our scheme, initially we both went out to our friends because, you know, we both have friends who are founders. And then we also, you know, we're also part of a couple of women's networks. So we also reached out on those networks, asking women to help us. And honestly, everyone's been so helpful, so receptive. Of course, some women are busy and they have other commitments and they couldn't help, but most have, you know, have found ways to help and get involved.
That's really heartwarming to know. And it stresses the importance of networking, which is another pillar of the FFE. You run monthly networking events in different locations throughout central London. Do your networking events differ from others? How have you worked to make the FFE a space for women from all walks of life and ensure inclusivity of different diverse backgrounds and experiences?
Well, there are, of course, several women's networks, and I think they are growing, and, you know, at a faster rate. FFE, the difference with FFE is that it is aimed at the younger demographic. And, you know, of course, we go to the universities and we get, you know, all the girls to apply. So, you know, everyone is welcome. Ideally, it's someone between 18 to 26. Sometimes the people have been a bit older and, you know, we don't exclude them. And, you know, we try to make the events different as well. So every event we, you know, hold in a different location. We have different speakers. From September onwards, we're going to be doing masterclasses as well. So we have things like brand building, manifestations. We have a BBC journalist that wants to come and talk to our FFEs. So we want to make the event as interesting as possible, to give the girls all the different information that they would need to set up a business. We did the workshops last year, which were, you know, again, all different topics. So raising finance, B Corp certification, storytelling for brand marketing. And, you know, we're always happy to receive feedback. We've sent around questionnaires. If there's anything in particular that somebody wants to know about or things would be helpful, we'll be very happy to hear and find solutions.
I think it's so important, the work that you've done with the FFE, and it's so incredible and inspirational. What impact do you hope to achieve through this network in the long term? Are there any specific goals or milestones that you're working towards?
Well, we've had some really, really good feedback already. For instance, Mahika, you're really one of our success stories. You've been partnered with Farah for your podcast. I know you're now working with Farah, and Farah's helping you or has helped you to set up your podcast. This, for us, is the dream scenario. We've had several, instances like this. We had Jasmine. She won the pitching den competition at NatWest. She was partnered with Maya Mago for mentoring, and there was meant to be 3 online sessions. They're working together for months and months and months. Maya is mentoring her all the way through until she starts a business. Maya is also about to have a baby in August, and she said she's happy to mentor Jasmine. So there's these types of things that are wonderful. And also the event we held on Monday, the founders were incredible. There were lots of girls in the room, but honestly, I was personally inspired by their stories. So it's always good to hear an extra story, an extra positive outcome, an extra bit of advice. Don't take no for an answer, find a way. It's all these types of things. It's all helping.
And it's nice when you see the results. Like Megan, so the girl that I've been mentoring, she came up, gave me a massive hug. It was really sweet, but this type of thing makes it really worthwhile. It's really nice to see because she wants to get into PR, and there's someone who has worked for us as a freelance PR consultant and has a business in it. So she kind of said, oh, she's given me an email address and I'm going to be working with her, and I'm so happy, and I couldn't have done it without, the initiative and being introduced and stuff. So that's really nice.
That's so beautiful. And I think that your team is so good at finding inspirational and empowering women to act as role models. But you guys both have been on an incredible long journey to get to where you are. What advice would you personally give to young women who are interested in entrepreneurship, but may feel hesitant or uncertain about pursuing their dreams?
Well, it was just what we heard on Monday. A couple of the founders said that they didn't have any hesitations. They really, really believed in their product. And they had their way that they wanted to do it. And it was definitely the same for Anna and I, when we couldn't get the funding initially. And, everyone kind of turned us down, and we were kind of putting down the amount that we wanted. And I said to Anna, look, we could do this. And I took everything out of the financial model. We wanted to start on 250K. I said, look, we just need 25,000. And we found it, and we went. We just weren't going to be turned down, and people said, oh no, you can't do it. No, we found a way,
I also think you should let an idea grab you. I don't think, I've come across people occasionally and they say, oh, I want to start a business, or I want to be an entrepreneur. And I say, what's your idea? And they say, I don't have one. I don't think that's the right way to do it. I think you really need to believe in something. You really need to feel that gap in the market yourself. And genuinely want it, as opposed to kind of hunting around for an idea. And then when you have found that gap, and when then you believe in it enough to follow it, I think you also have to accept that it's going to take a lot longer than you think to build this. Also that what is a priority for you, like when we were looking for producers, nobody gets back for weeks. It's a case of like chasing people constantly, and then everything takes a lot longer than you think it's going to take. So this is not a kind of overnight quick fix. And it's also, now we get to do really nice things and go to nice events, but we never did at the start. It's a hard slog, and you have to be prepared to do every job yourself. At the start, our egg white would come in cases of 18s. And the supermarkets wanted boxes of 6. So Alan and I would literally go in the early morning and sit in a warehouse in a big fridge for like 3 hours with big puffer jackets on and Ugg boots, and one of us making the boxes and the other one packing, because we couldn't take the egg white out of the chill chain. All these 1,000 units from boxes of 18 into boxes of 6. And, leafleting outside Tesco is not glamorous. So there's all of these kind of aspects that I think you really have to be prepared to take on board.
Yeah, be prepared to get your hands dirty and work all hours of the day and do every single job required. We couldn't afford to pay anyone. We did everything ourselves. So Anna did the sales and the marketing, the PR. I did all the finance, logistics, every delivery, every penny that was spent, every penny that we received, I had to record manually in an Excel spreadsheet until we could afford to take on an accountant to help with this kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's a testament to how much you cared about your business, about your idea. If you could start again, though, what's one thing that you would change about your journey? What's one improvement that you would tell yourself now after being established, back to your former selves back in 2005, 2006?
I mean, I guess Alla, we discussed once, didn't it? I mean, we could have tried to we obviously begun on very little funding and we haven't really had much funding to date. Of course, we could have got a kind of bigger injection of cash, I suppose. Whether we'd actually do that differently, I don't know. But if you're saying what are things that we've toyed with in our heads, we could have done that and tried to launch quicker and done a big advertising campaigns and kind of launched other products all at once. But I don't know what you think, Alla, whether...
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, I mean, we completely pivoted from our business plan. The thing is, as we now know, to have a successful business, it's often very different to what your initial business plan is. And our initial business plan was to have egg white and then to have flavored egg white, like they do in the States. But that didn't work. So then we went into different products. We tried to do this healthy crisps. We tried to do a pancake mix. And I think, the only other thing that we could have done differently is maybe try to do more products, or as Anna said, if we had a big injection of capital, we could have, tried to do more, but then we wouldn't have had ownership of our business the way we do and the flexibility to do what we want. And we're still constantly looking for new ideas and new opportunities, and we're always working on expanding and growing the business.
It's that trade-off, isn't it, Alla, what you were just saying, I suppose keeping hold of your equity and then growing, kind of growing the business. It's hard it's finding that line of what to give up and what not to.
Yeah, but also having, since we've been doing FFE and I've been speaking to more founders, even personally, lots of them do get big cash injections, but it doesn't mean that they grow any quicker. I think we've grown and we've done a decent job on the funding that we have had.
You have done an incredible job. And just speaking about funding, the FFE network is funded by the 10% of the profits you make from Two Chicks, if I'm correct. What made you decide to have that interdependency and be self-funded? And how has both of your kind of assets of the business grown because of the growth of this network?
Well, when we started doing the empowerment fund, we said we would give 10%. In fact, there's actually been a lot more than 10%. But we really do like to give back. I think it's just a really nice, I don't know, it's just really nice for us to have this purpose and the incredible feedback we're having and all the help, not only from the female founders, but from corporations. NatWest are very supportive. Faro hosted us. We have a lot more, organizations offering us networking space where, we're planning events for later on this year. So it's just a good place to be in at the moment, good space to be in. And also it's just, this whole female empowerment, it's really picking up pace. And we women need to level the playing field, and we're happy to be, contributing to this.
That's incredible. And you mentioned briefly about events you have later coming up this year. Can you please tell our audience about what's next for Two Chicks and for the FFE?
All the information is on our Instagram and our TikTok. So it's Two Chicks FFE for the accounts. And from September, we will start again with monthly networking events. And Anna can tell you more about Two Chicks.
So we have we have hopefully three new products coming out this year. So that will be expanding our line a lot, hopefully raising our profile. They won't be in the same section as the egg white. They'll be in different sections across the supermarkets. One of them is literally almost ready to go. So we hope to see that in the supermarkets in the next few months. Again, we always look for products where we think there's a gap in the market, and products basically that we want ourselves but couldn't find. And that's so this product that's coming out soon it's the same kind of thinking behind that ethos, whatever you want to call it.
That's super exciting. I can't wait to see what it is. And Alla, you briefly mentioned your socials, but how can aspiring female entrepreneurs that are listening to this get involved with the FFE and benefit from its initiatives?
So they can go on our website, twochicks.co.uk. The Future Female Entrepreneur page is on there. There's a link to sign up. You can also sign up via our Instagram page and the link tree. There are all the links. So you can sign up to join our community. You can sign up onto our internship database, because we actually have 2 FFEs who are now interning with us. And we have other female founders who are also looking for interns. So you can sign up to that. And also, all the events are mentioned on our Instagram. So just, keep an eye on the channels and follow the links to sign up.
That's super exciting, and I will link all of this in the show notes. Before we wrap up, I just have 2 quick rapid fire questions for each of you. So we discussed today in our conversation that business, finance, entrepreneurship is a very male-dominated industry, and you, as the 2 chicks, are working to overcome that. What is one thing that angers you the most about business and entrepreneurship and the world that we live in right now? And what is one thing that gives you the most hope?
I would say when we started the business, to be really transparent, I think that people were, I don't think we felt discriminated against because we were women. I mean, there was someone at the very start who said, don't do it. You're, 2 women, no experience in business or food. You won't get into the big boys, meaning the supermarkets. It's too much. And he said to me, stick to being a journalist. So that always stuck in my head. But I would say in terms of meeting the buyers and launching the products, we were not discriminated against for being women. I didn't feel that.
Yeah, and I would say just for me, as I mentioned at the beginning, we didn't get the funding from anywhere other than from friends and family. However, we did get funding and we did launch the business. So it is that 2% statistic. Women don't get the funding, but if you're clever and if you don't give up, you will find a way. And I guess we are kind of the few, not the few, of course there are many women founders, but we are the ones who, I guess you can say, have done it. So we found a way. I just find the statistics surprising. I can't believe only 2% goes to women and 98% goes to men. I just don't even know how that's even possible. But that's it anyway. And there are many initiatives now to help. There were more women investing, and they will invest in other female-led businesses. So we're just happy and positive that things are going in the right direction.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I remember at one of your events that we went to together, I learned that in the UK, more men called David receive funding than women. And I found that statistic quite shocking and quite enraging. But exactly. I feel super grateful that you are working towards bridging that gap. So thank you so much for all of your endeavors, for your efforts, for empowering women like myself and other people in our community. And thank you for coming onto the podcast. I really appreciate all your insights.
Thank you so much for having us, Mahika. Thank you. It's been lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Empower Sounds podcast. Stay tuned every Monday for your weekly dose of inspiration and entertainment.